Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fulltyne with me, the host, Billy. I've got some great guests with me tonight. I've got John Paul to my right, I've got the lovely Gemma at the bottom right, and I've got Jas right directly below me, the Swedish meatball producing millionaire from Stockholm. Before we go any further, though, we're going to kind of do all this stuff. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we're putting a new show on. You can also become a member by joining us for 99 pence a month. Or $1.99 or $2.99. That'll entitle you to members' draws, where you can win shirts, as the lady bottom right won the first draw we ever had. We'll get all of our prizes from these people, Sports Trader, who are about to open a new store in Newcastle upon Tyne. They're a national charity who provide sports equipment for disadvantaged people, children, disabled children. And that's where we'll be getting our prizes from. And there's also other people to mention, but I've got the wrong thing on and I've lost all my pictures. So we're going from scratch here. Talking about yesterday's game, 1-0 to Everton it was. We'll talk about the lineups first. John, was there any surprise in the lineup for you when you saw the lineup come out?
No. I was relatively... Apart from ASM, I thought he might have started with ASM. But other than him, I thought he'd switch to Kraft back at right back. And the midfield was pretty much the same. We did say last week, didn't we, whether it was going to be Shelvey or Bruno, but I felt Bruno had deserved his chance, and he got his chance, didn't he? So, yeah, pretty much as expected, the lineup.
Jason, were you surprised with any of the selections?
I was hoping Manquillo would have been back into the side, but obviously Kraft was in there. Many would have thought ASM would have walked back into the squad, but I'm actually happy that he was still benched for a while. I got nothing against ASM. I think it could be a fitness thing that's keeping him out for a little while, so you could expect him to start against Spurs. But I thought Miggy held himself up pretty well. Other than that, yeah, no problem with that.
Gemma, would you have picked ASM?
Usually yes, but I think he's been poor in recent games.
I mean, given the fact...
prefer Manquillo to Kraft.
Yeah. I mean, given the fact that ASM tore Everton a new one the other week, would that not have pushed you to picking him ahead of, let's say, Miggy and played Fraser on the right? Anybody?
Yeah, I'd expected that. Yeah.
But... yeah, I must be honest, I did. I thought ASM would come in, but it wasn't to be. He played, went back to a flat back four. He brought Kraft in for Manquillo, dropped the cells. Willock came in midfield alongside Joe Linton, who was fit again, and Bruno. Fraser played on the left, Miggy on the right, and Chris Wood through the middle. First half, guys, quite promising at times. Bruno was very prominent, wasn't he, in everything we did. And we looked the better side, didn't we, John?
Oh, we did, yeah. We was by far the better side in the first half. We weren't even close. We weren't even a contest. I think they only had one touch in the box in the whole half. That was how dominant we were. The midfield, I mean, Bruno was picking passes all over the place. The midfield was solid the first half. I thought Willock had a good first half. I think Joe Linton was backing up Bruno with the pure physical side of it. And Bruno was just picking passes for fun. We just couldn't finish the chances. That was the issue the first half.
Has anyone got TV on at the minute? Because I can hear kind of background noise.
No.
Is that you, Jace?
No, I've got no TV on.
I see it's gone now. Strange. Yeah, so did Everton's kind of rolling around, play acting, persistent fouling irritate you, Jace? Because they were kind of at it first half, weren't they? And second half, to be fair.
For me, I put out a huge status saying how raged I was. That was such a horrible game. I did not enjoy a single moment of that game. There was no flow in that game at all. If the ball wasn't out of play, it was to an Everton player, and they were on the floor the moment that they touched it. It was just horrible. It was stop and start for the entire 114 minutes that we had on there. It was horrible. It's a game that I want to just forget about instantly. It raged me so much.
Yeah, the first half they were particularly bad. I thought Gemma's 2 players in particular were real kind of at it. Richarlison and young Gordon.
Mm.
Did you think the referee was lenient with those, especially Gordon? I mean, he must have made 10 fouls first half.
I think, yeah. Richarlison, for me, he's a player that does it all the time. He always looks for a way just to win stuff for his side. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong on that, but he's got a really bad attitude on him. I don't like the way his attitude.
Spencer has made a comment that was a shit game to watch. I kind of agree with that. Do you, Jem?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the second half.
The first half, we did create a few chances. And we're going to come to the first subject of the night. And I have praised him the past kind of 2 weeks because he kind of looked like he was coming on a bit. But the Chelsea game last night, Chris Wood was awful, in my opinion. John discussed his chances. He had 2 really good. One was a real good chance with his head, straight at the goalkeeper.
I think he was better than he was against Chelsea. Not saying he had a good game, but he was certainly better than Chelsea. But he had two glorious chances. He had an open net. I know it was come late, but for me, the positioning wasn't correct. If he did position himself, it was on a plate for him, but he got ahead of the ball and potentially offside, but I don't think it was, to be fair, and just missed an open goal, didn't he? But he came late, so yeah.
I mean, he doesn't seem to have the nous and the know-how that strikers generally have to be in the right place at the right time, does he, Jace?
No, that's the issue, yeah.
He's really just... Jace, go on, rant.
Oh my God, I said from the moment his name was mentioned that he will be a failure for this club. He continues to prove me right. I do not rate Chris Wood at all. I don't care how much we are worth, and that 25 mil is just a simple drop in the ocean. For me, that is 25 mil so badly wasted. He is not even worth 25 mil. If anything, if I was to ever bring him to the club, I would have said 8 to 12, maybe tops. Never worth 25 mil. He is so trash. He can't really play to our style. That's what everyone keeps on saying. Yes, he's getting 10 plus goals a season. Yes, because Burnley played to his strengths. He's not playing to our strengths now. He can't score. He can't. He's just slow. He does hardly anything. I really don't rate him. I want him out the club already. He just reminds me of Riviere type of player. He's just 1 goal a season. That's all you're going to get out of him. He's so rubbish.
And Gemma, it's not just about his goal scoring, it's his hold-up play that also found wanting last night. I mean, the ball just doesn't stick with him, does it, darling?
No, it's not just the positioning. I do agree with Jason. He's so, stiff and he's so slow. I'm just not really sure what he contributes to the team, really. Because everyone was saying, when we were, signing him, how he'd be a great replacement till Callum Wilson's back from injury. I'm sorry, but Callum Wilson would have scored more than 1 goal in the amount of games that Chris Wood has played.
Right, here's a question for the 3 of you. Callum Wilson's apparently close to fitness. When he comes back in and he's kind of mollycoddled through a few substitute appearances, do we go to 4-4-2 and try and get the best out of Wood by having someone next to him? John, yes or no?
I think that's what Howe wants. I think that's the why they bought Wood. And Wood certainly does play better as a 2. I mean, his contribution at Burnley was always in as a 2. With Barnes, I think it was Barnes was his partner, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For the majority of it. And he does well as a number, and I can see it. I can see from his play that he's missing someone next to him. I mean, it's not all bad from him. He has been terrible the last 2 games, but it's not all been bad. And I think he will. I think it'll be him and Wilson up front. But who do you drop? Because Bruno was great for 60, 70 minutes last game. Shelby's been consistent. Willock's been consistent, and I mean, there's no spaces. You'd have to drop someone from midfield, and they've all been playing well. So,
Jason, yes or no? Wilson and Wood, will they go with a 4-4-2? Do you think?
I know I would annoy a lot of fans off, but I would say no. I'd go for a Wood and Gal combination up top if it's going to get anything. Both got pace. Both know how to score. Yeah, all right. Gal hasn't scored much of late. He's hardly played of late. But then you got people saying, "Oh, Gal's only a championship player. Gal can only do this. Gal can only do that." Look how Eddie's transformed Joe Linton. Look how Eddie's transformed Shelby. Look how Eddie's transformed most of the players. He said when he came in that Gal is like a Callum Wilson type player. Prove it. Let's see him play. I would bring Gal in and drop Wood, to be honest.
Jem, do you think 4-4-2 with a Wilson and Wood front two works?
I'd give him a chance with Wilson, but would it make a difference to Wood's goal scoring ability? I don't believe so. Obviously,
I mean, like John says,
got to give him a chance.
Like John says, if we did do a 4-4-2, what would we do with the midfield? Would we play Willock on the wide right and play with Guimaraes and Joe Linton in the middle? Although I don't know what he'd do. He'd have not enough midfielders and too many midfielders to fill in, wouldn't he? Let's take some comments. Ian says
3-5-2.
Yeah, I'm not convinced with that either. To be honest, I don't think we've got the personnel. Certainly on the right hand side, and we're probably a centre half short as well. So I'm not sure. He might try it. We'll see. Ian Gaskell's referring to the chant that the Newcastle fans were singing to Richarlison. He's just a shit Joe Linton, which was quite funny, I thought, especially coming after he's coming for you, Mike Ashley chants on Sunday. The fans were in great voice. Evening to Paddy. Welcome to the show, mate. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Spencer says Wood will be dead wood for us this time next year. No pun intended. Foxy, actually, he's right what he says here. New Zealand superstar Wood is. Yeah, he is, yeah. I suppose a New Zealand superstar in football terms isn't the same as a New Zealand rugby superstar is by any stretch of the imagination. Cesare, hi, mate. Good evening, all. Hi, Billy teammate. Hope you're well. I'm very good, thank you. Stu's in the house also. Even though what a bit of a shite result last night, but onwards and upwards, lads and lasses. Trolls is also in the house. Evening, Trolls. And also Jim. Evening to Jim. Stu saying hello to Trolls. Spencer says, don't even expect much from Woods in terms of goal scoring, but his link-up play is terrible. And the aerial duels he does win don't usually lead to much, and that's because no one's getting beyond him to kind of get onto these flick-ons, are they, when he does make it? Evening, Billy, Jason, Gemma and John, says Trolls. Hi to Cesare from Stu. Gary's in the house, Gary Venables. Evening, everyone. Poor result last night, but we had a lot of very tired, fatigued players, especially last 30 minutes. I think that's a fair point also. Matty says, what happened to Gemma's show the other weekend? Gemma, do you want to answer that? It's about your channel, I guess.
Yeah, I did put a out, was it on Twitter, that it had been postponed for personal reasons, but I'm hoping for it to begin on April the 9th.
Saturday, April the 9th, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the introduction show. What will any ideas what's going to happen on April the 9th? I mean, I do, because obviously I'm going to be there with you. So,
apologies for the delay, Matty. Anyone else?
There you go. You got fans, mate. You got fans. You're going, mate. Then fans, pet. Ches says both Wilson and Wood play well as a two. Yeah, I agree with that. Hello to Stu from Trolls and vice versa. Julie's in the house also. I'll read. Hi, Julie. Trolls says hello to Cesare. Also, everyone's saying hello to each other. Spencer, playing two up top would mean we'd have to top in midfield or play three at the back. None of which are worth doing just to put Wood in the team. I think that's a fair comment, to be quite honest.
But it's just bought two new fullbacks as well, hasn't he, in Target and Trippier.
Yeah, so Trippier, yeah.
Put them two out, is he?
No, I agree with that. Evening to Alex. How you doing, mate? Foxy, how many teams in world football play two up top now in 2022? We would get found out in midfield doing that. I tend to agree. But to get Wood kind of viable, I think you have to go two up top. But is it worth sacrificing the rest of the team just for that? It's not, is it? To be honest. Hello to Julie from Stu. Here come the troublemakers. I think there's 2 new viewers who just finished his show. Drop Willock for Bruno and use Willock as a super subset trolls. Joe Willock last night. I thought he played well first half. Kind of faded second. Gemma?
Yeah, I do think the break will do the whole team good. Like, when they came back from the break in Saudi, we were like an entirely different team. And some of the players did look really like tired last night. And I'm just hoping the break will be like a positive for the team. Couldn't be any worse than the last night, really.
Certainly couldn't. Julie says hello to Stu. And everyone's saying hello to the I like coffee. Says hi Billy and all. Hi, I like coffee. Trolls 2 thumbs to many Julie. Everyone is saying hello to each other. Christopher says the sooner Wilson's returned, the better. Wood does graft, but that will only get you so far. As a striker, goal should be the priority, and Wood just isn't ruthless enough in front of goal. Unfortunately, I think we all agree with that, don't we?
Yeah.
Especially at the precise moment.
That's the thing,
Stu
like,
says,
if you're a striker, your job description is to like strike. Your job description is to score goals. If you're not scoring goals, what are you doing? You're not like doing your job.
and he had
And you're
service
still
last
getting
night.
paid.
He had 2 great chances and failed with both. One was a real good chance, the back post header. All he had to do was float it from where the goalkeeper come from to the opposite corner. It was a goal.
Yeah,
Just
put it straight.
nodded it straight down to keeper. Yeah, it was. I honestly thought it was horrendous.
It's the same as the reverse fixture. He had a point blank header. He went straight into Dino Arms' hands.
He did.
Could have been his first goal there and then.
I mean, a lot of people that's kind of defend would say he doesn't get the service, but he is getting service, and to me, he's only converted one of the chances he's been given, which ain't good enough, is it?
I'm of a similar opinion as Jason, because when we were first linked to him, I wasn't happy about it. I didn't think he was good enough or what we needed, and obviously he's done nothing to prove like us wrong, really.
For me, it was a panic buy. We needed.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
We needed a striker there and then because Wilson was out and we had no one there. So he was a panic buy. If we had actually put some time into that, maybe even brought a championship level striker like that. Diaz from Blackburn, he might have actually been a lot better, and we could have maybe got him cheaper.
I genuinely love him to prove us wrong, but I just don't believe he will.
I think what you can say about Chris Wood is he is a proven Premier League striker, but he's not a Premier League proven striker when he's not in a 4-4-2.
No,
that's all he's ever done, and he's never going to play 4-4-2 at Newcastle because, as we've said, our strengths lay in the midfield, and we're not going to change system just to accommodate him. I wouldn't have thought, but I think he'll try it. I do honestly. I think he'll try it at some stage.
I think he bought him in the fact Joe Linton wasn't a midfielder then, was he? He wasn't ripping it up in central midfield, so there was probably space for him as of then. But since then, obviously Bruno's come in and Joe Linton's turned into prime Maldini stroke Maradona, hasn't he? So yeah.
Fair comment. Stu says Matt Targett was solid again last night, looking a great addition to the squad. Yeah, I agree with that. Jace, Targett.
Yeah, I'd make his deal permanent. It'd definitely be my first signing for the summer, just to make the deal permanent and then focus on bringing in another striker or 2 or 3. Just make sure you bring in enough strikers to make sure that Wood doesn't come back onto the pitch again.
Matt Targett, are you a fan?
Yeah, I'd definitely take him on a permanent. What would you do with Wood?
What would I do with him? I'd take him down to Beachy Head and seriously, I think my kind of comments on Wood are well documented. I'm not a fan at all. Same as Jason, you. I think John's in the same opinion. There are a few defending him, and he did look like he was coming on a little bit in the Brentford game. I thought he played pretty well. The Brighton game, he was okay, and the Southampton game, he scored a great goal. Since then, he's gone back to the kind of Chris Wood before all that, and not for me, not good enough for me. So half time, it was 0-0. We were the better side, obviously. Dominate possession, dominate territory. And at half time, I said to Gemma, I said, I think we'll win this game. I think we're by far the better side. Was everyone optimistic about the final score was going to be? John, were you?
Yeah, I thought we should have been 1-0 up at half time. We was unlucky that it was 0-0. But yeah, optimistic. I mean, it was a scrappy game. I mean, it was a scrappy game throughout, but the first half was scrappy, and I thought it was going to be 1-0. I thought we were going to nick it 1-0.
Jace, were you optimistic at half time?
Yeah, I mean, same points as well. I think we should have been a goal or two up, but by then it's just the way it was. It kept stop, start all the way through. But we attacked, and they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't get into our half. They struggled. They feared us. That was the moment we actually struck fear into an opponent, and that's what I want to see again. Back to those days where teams feared playing us. We want to be striking that every single game. And I thought from then on, if we came out in the second half and did the exact same thing, we would have definitely won that.
Gemma, were you optimistic at half time? I think you were, weren't you?
Yeah, like it's slightly premature to mention it now, but can you remember my reaction when they got the players sent off and how like I screamed yes? I genuinely thought that was our 3 points when they went down to 10 men.
We'll come to that in a bit. There was another chance we had first half as well, where we beautifully manufactured a move for Fraser to go 1-on-1 with the keeper, and yet Seamus Coleman outpaced him, didn't he? Did that surprise you, John?
Yeah, it was a brilliant tackle though. Let's give him credit where credit's due.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah,
I didn't think he was getting back. I thought Fraser was away, and you'd have put money on Fraser scoring as well. But he did fantastic to get back. Not once, but twice in the same move. So yeah.
So half time 0-0. Everyone was optimistic. Better side, better quality of side, had all the best possession, territory, everything. Half time came. Second half started. Similar vein until 5 minutes in the second half. Some
you know what? Yeah,
Spencer.
Yeah, some Spencer jumps on from the crowd and decided to tie himself to the goalpost by his neck. I mean, what was the goalkeeper doing? What were the stewards doing? It was a strange old affair, wasn't it, Jem, really, for this plank to come on from the crowd?
Half, wasn't it? Something like 65% possession to us and 35% to Everton.
It was indeed. Yeah, we dominated. And we started off the same. We started off the same in the second half, really, until this fellow came on from the Gladys Road end and decided to attach himself to the goal. And that kind of changed the game, didn't it? John, would you say so? Would you say the momentum changed? The crowd got behind the Everton team?
The crowd got behind the Everton team, definitely. I don't know why, but yeah, as soon as that break in play, they seemed to turn the noise volume on again. But they did in the first half, and we shut them up after about 5 minutes because they couldn't handle us. And I mean, the play did go towards them a little bit, but I mean, I think we were still okay. I think at that point we were still okay. I mean, I think the sending off was the main changing part, but we'll get to that obviously.
We will indeed. Jace, what did you think about the plank coming on from the Gladys Road end and tying himself to the post?
Oh, so I looked away for a minute because I was just checking something else out, and then I look back and I'm seeing people crowded around. I thought, oh no, don't say that another person's in the crowd's going needing the medical attention or anything. And then the next minute, there's this bloke just changing as well, just zip tied himself to the goalpost, and I was like, what's this plank doing? And then the funniest thing of the whole lot is when the steward comes out from the tunnel with a humongous pair of bolt cutters. Like, what's he going to do? Just go up to him and chop his head off or something, just to get him away from the goalpost.
That's extreme for a tie wrap, wasn't it?
But the thing is, how? I mean, he must have been really flexible to kind of get round a post. Well, I could do it, but round a post, round his neck, tie it up, and no one noticed him do it. I mean, it was ridiculous to the nth degree, wasn't it, Jem? How did he actually get on the pitch?
The most ironic thing is, due to the reasons behind his stunt, was that he, the most ironic thing is, not only was the plastic cable tie but his spectacles are like derived from plastic. You know what I mean? It was totally nonsensical.
Which was made with the stuff he was protesting about.
Yeah. So he had the cable tied around his neck. He had spectacles on his face. Like, that was just like the total. It was just a total farce. It was just nonsensical, the whole thing.
I mean, I'm hoping Everton get really heavily kind of censored for that, because for the stewards to allow it to happen.
Derived from plastic. I meant derived from oil. Sorry, he was
complaining
about oil. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I hope Everton are severely kind of censored for that, because to allow that to happen, and it did change the course of the game, in my opinion, because they looked flat as pancakes before then.
Definitely.
The crowd weren't into it.
It did boost the Everton fans, and I also think our players seemed like quite unsettled.
It certainly did. Let's have some more comments. Hi, Josh. Good evening, Billy, Jason,
Hi,
John, and Gemma. Cesare says, does anyone have an ETA on Wilson? Hearing is nearing a return, but thought it'd be near the end of the season with Trippier. We think Wilson's beginning of April, kind of to start kind of training again.
Spring.
Mid-April, he's started doing some light training, hasn't he? Not with
yeah. We're looking at mid-April to play, aren't we? And he'll take a couple of games to go and get match fit as well. So, yeah, it's going to be another 3 or 4 weeks, of which we don't play for 2 of them anyway. So maybe 4 games, and we'll be getting back in the side. Troll says we need to get back ASM. I heard some stats from the game, and he played well, worked hard. We'll come to ASM in a little while. Gary Cesare hoping for Norwich game. I don't know what that is. UK Jack says Sharvin for Willock replace Wood as a deeper lying forward. I suggested this the week, actually. Use Willock as a false 9 and break from midfield and just have the 2 kind of wingers. Would that work, John, do you think?
Sorry, my daughter's trying to get into the stream.
Willock as a false 9 instead of Wood.
Yeah, I would try ASM up front as well, to be fair, because he just doesn't track back, does he? He just doesn't seem to get into this pressing play that Howe's wanting, whereas the rest of the team seem to be buying into it. Even Miggy was pressing. I mean, he didn't do much with the ball when he got it, but he showed intent. And I think if we tried Fraser, Miggy, and maybe give ASM a free run up top, it might work out better than what we've got at the minute. But Willock again, I mean, possibly. But I think personally I'd try SM rather than Willock.
Jace?
Yeah, Willock can
same
play.
For you.
Willock can play all over the midfield and anywhere you want him to play. That's the one thing I do like about Willock, where he knows how to play in all positions. So I'll try it. I'd also didn't ASM play as a false 9 at the start of the season or with the back end of last season. I think when Wilson was injured, then that seemed to have worked pretty well. Then again, I don't care. You could stick Carl Darlow up there if it means getting Wood out of the team. As I'm concerned, but I'd still like to give Gal a game or give him a little run of games. See if we can actually get something out of him. It may end up interesting some other clubs to maybe come in and take him away eventually, because after we give him a new deal.
Gemma, would you think that'd be a good idea? Play Willock as a deeper line forward, as a false 9, if you like Man City do. Play with no strikers and just have Willock as a kind of forward cam and use him instead of Wood.
Yeah, I would. I don't think it would be any worse than Wood. And obviously, if you go back to last season, Willock was great at finding the net. His positioning was good. I personally believe we wouldn't have stayed up if it wasn't for Willock last season.
I think that's a very fair comment. The one thing Willock can do is finish. I mean, the finish at Brentford was absolutely astounding. There's no way Chris Wood would have scored that goal. No way. On God's earth.
Definitely not.
Cesare says, Gary, thanks, mate. We need him. Matty Davis. The long delay really knocked us out of our rhythm last night. Everton fans were all quiet and we were starting to control the game up until that point. While Player we're talking about him, kind of getting to him now. We've just gone through that. What happened there? Trolls about Wood. We paid much too much for Wood, but as our owner said, They will make mistakes along the way. And Gary says, we'll come to that in a minute because that's kind of the next thing that happened. We started making subs, didn't we? We took Miggy off and brought Murphy on. Fraser, was it, for ASM? They were the 2 subs, weren't they? Mankio.
And then Mankio for Kraft, yeah.
They were the 3 subs, weren't they? When we made the subs, did you think we were pushing to win the game, John?
Yeah, I think we still had control of the game at that point. I think it was about the 65th minute when they brought ASM on. Was it just before the instant? I can't remember, but I think it was just before the instant of the guy tying himself to the lamppost. And I personally thought ASM was what we was missing. I thought we just needed someone to run at that defence because Wood wasn't doing much up front. I thought we just needed someone to run at the defence, bring Willock into it, bring Bruno into it, and we might have scored. So I was quite happy with this sub when it happened. I think Miggy played well. So Miggy for Murphy was a weird one for me, but again, fresh legs, so I could understand it. And the Kraft for Mankio one, again, I think it was just fresh legs, wasn't it?
I mean, the Mankio, the Almiron one was strange, Jace, because he just skinned the fullback. Confidence must have been high at that point, and then they whip him straight off. Did you think that was a bad substitution by Howe to bring Murphy on for Miggy at that point?
To be honest, yes, I do. I felt Miggy deserved to stay for the full 90. I didn't see him do much wrong. He actually had a good game for us, and that would have given him more confidence. And his little bit of skill could have led to a goal if it went in was brilliant from him. Yes, when Murphy did come on, he did, like, from the off, he made a couple of good crosses into the box. So I maybe would have brought Murphy on for Fraser to start off with and just give Miggy a little more time after doing that. But I thought Miggy should have stayed on.
Do you think it was a bad time to take Miggy off after he'd just gone past Godfrey so easily and set up a chance for Willock?
Yeah, I did agree with the commentators last night when they said Almiron, when he does a cross, there isn't any pace on the ball. But I feel like he can pass, and obviously Murphy struggles with passing.
Yeah, he's good at crossing, but his passing ain't so good. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I think the Almiron's good at passing but not crossing, and then vice versa.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Murphy.
Strange set of affairs with those two. But that's what happened. Then, kind of the thing that changed the game. Then we broke out in defence. We still looked really solid at the back. The back forward playing really well, not having any dangers at all. Bruno was still kind of dominating the game. We set up a situation where ASM was on the break. Alan came across, took him ankle high, but in the air. The referee gave a yellow card. Stuart Atwell in the VAR booth asked, what's his name? I can't remember the names of the ref.
Paulson, yeah.
Craig Pawson to go and have a look at the TV screen. I said at the time it was a red card. Gemma will rectify that. Did you think it was a red card straight away, John, or did you think a yellow?
When I looked at it in live, I thought it was a yellow. When I saw it again, I still think it was a yellow. It was 2 feet off the ground, which is by law that's a red card, isn't it? That's a rule. If it's 2 feet off the ground, it's a red card, which it was. So it was a red card. Would I have been happy if it was the other way around? No, I'd have been furious if we'd have got the red card decision for that. But it happens, and it's about time VAR went our way, to be fair.
I agree. Jason, do you think yellow or red?
Well, at first, I thought maybe yellow because it happened so fast, and you didn't really get. You couldn't really have had a decent view without having to see the replays of it. So I'm glad that they actually went to the VAR for that, and then just to see never in my life have I ever seen someone do the splits in midair. They just completely glide with their studs showing. I thought, okay, yeah, fair enough. Rules are rules. If both feet are off the ground, then it's an automatic red. So you deserve the red.
Gemma, at the time, I know what because you were watching with me. Did you think it was a red?
I personally believed it was a yellow, but was I complaining? No, I was actually like, believed that was our push to get 3 points. And I remember actually screaming yes. Well, not screaming, but
No, you did. You screamed.
Slightly shouting yes.
You definitely screamed.
When he got sent off. I thought going down to 10 men, it could only do us a favour. I think Shearer, although he thought it was yellow, he was more like complaining about it. Well, I was more biased.
He thought it was in between a yellow and red, didn't he? He kind of said it was not yellow but not red either. He's kind of in between. But I mean, I said at the time, as you'll rectify, that's a red card because he caught his ankle in mid-air. And whether I was looking, whether I was looking at it through black and white eyes or not, I don't know. But when I saw it on replay, I thought it was a red. And this kind of brings us to the question:
like, if our player wouldn't have been happy, but obviously from a biased point of view, I was very happy.
No. And this brings us to the question that Gary poses here. Do you think we pushed too far forward when they went to 10 men, leaving too much space behind for fatigued players to chase back? I'll come to John first with that. Is that a good question? Is he right?
That is exactly the problem. They had the players sent off and we got the momentum. The fans shut up. We was attack. And we couldn't finish the chances. We created a few more chances. Kraft had a decent shot. Miggy, did Miggy have a chance just before he went off? But yeah, I think we had some good chances, and we couldn't take them. And then the last few games, we've given everything, and about 10 minutes to go, we've nothing left. And it was the same for me. We got caught. Unfortunately, Dan Burn, who I thought was immense, and I'd still say was the man of the match. Another little slip.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that in a minute. Jace, did you think we kind of went too gung ho when they went to 10 men?
I think, well, as every team would do it, a team goes down by a man or two. The opposition are going to throw everything at them. I think that's what we want. What we plan to do, but I think the players were tired. We've played 3 games in the space of 7, 8 days. We're tired. We're shattered. We should maybe have. I know we're not mathematically safe yet. I still think we need a few more points, but maybe we could have played a couple of kids in there just to have some more energy levels in there. But we threw everything forward, but we had no one to finish. No one finished. Kraft and Matt, I couldn't believe he actually had a brilliant shot, and it was on target. And Miggy also had his shot, which was like a carbon copy of what he did against Chelsea, a little volley, but that went out for a corner. But you had players there having the shots, but no one was there to finish it, especially the plank up top.
Gemma, I'll approach this question differently. Did you think that the red card galvanised Everton?
Yeah, it did push them. And unfortunately, our players were fatigued. But in the first half, can I just say, I didn't think it was a bad effort from Fabian Schär. It reminded me of the Xabi Alonso strike when you
the free kick, yeah.
When you just I don't know, explain
from the halfway line, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad effort, to be fair, trying to catch the keeper off guard.
Let's come to some more. Go on, Karen.
Sorry, I was just thinking.
No, go on.
His effort was better than Chris Wood's effort for considering the positions, defender, striker.
I think anyone's effort's better than Chris Wood's effort.
That is true.
Talking to Chris Wood, Foxy says Wood will be a player that will keep him the season. Someone that can come on last 20 minutes to either defend the lead from the front or play more direct style, needing a goal. He'll be gone by 23, 24. Chris says, all right, kicking the ball last night, but I'm not going to have a go at the lads too much for that. They're still working their socks off. If we cut out the basic errors, then the results should come. We're going to come to the goal in a minute. Ches says, Charles, yeah, good point, but at least that high price was offset by getting Burn on such a great deal. I think it cancels that out. That's a fair point. Foxy says Diaz has been injured quite a while now, same as Zapata. probably a blessing in disguise. We didn't sign either in the end. That's the players we were after in January. Charles says exactly, Chez. They proved that they can get it right too. And Chez in return says, indeed, it was a very responsible window overall for January. Charles says, if we took Wood any pace to beat him, Billy, he would come back beaten. He's a beast, but too bad he isn't on the pitch. If you took Wood any place to beat him, Billy, you would come back beaten. He's a beast. Oh, right, I'm with you. Yeah, so off the pitch, he's a beast, but on it, he's shite. Judy says, click the like, Shep. Matty says, excited to see what the break will do for the lads. Last time it worked amazing. They really bonded, I suppose that means. Spencer says, what did I do? I don't even do anything, mate. What did you do? You tell me.
You called the protester Spencer. That's what he's referring
Oh,
to.
sorry, mate. Yeah, he's a character. He's a character from Phoenix Nights, which is a show over here you wouldn't even know about. We're kind of 42 minutes in. We'll do this kind of rigmarole again. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to it. Helps us build our community, and hit the notification bell so you're alert to any time we release a video. And on top of that, if you want to become a member of the channel, it's 99 pence a month minimum, or you can pay $1.99, $2.99, and that'll entitle you to prize draws for members. The lady in the bottom right hand corner, she was the first winner, and our league, he won a Joe Linton retro t-shirt from another one of our sponsors, and we do get all of our stuff from Sports Trader. We're kind of sponsoring them, a charity which helps disadvantaged children to get sports equipment so they can play on a level playing field. That's how that works. Well, the goal then, and this is really going to irritate me. How many people can we kind of put some blame at the door of for this goal? Who was the first kind of person to make a mistake? Does anyone think ASM was at fault at some point? John?
Yeah,
Jace, you do.
Go on.
I think it was a bit of tiredness, wasn't it? But the ASM, Joe Linton, and Dan Burn all misplaced passes, didn't they, in that one move? So just to put it on one player is a bit harsh. But
I agree. With a definite combined effort. Do you not think ASM was fouled?
I do.
Do you not think the player went through him to get the ball and the referee just played on?
I do. But it was like that all match, wasn't it? I mean, with the tackles going in, tackles getting missed, niggles, players diving, Richarlison diving, ASM had a couple of dives. I mean, it was constant all match, and it wasn't just 1 minute, 10 minutes. It was the whole match. It was like that. So, I mean, the ref was terrible, but it was a hard game to referee, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Jason, could you put a portion of the blame to ASM losing the ball, even though I thought he was fouled?
I don't want to place the blame on him. I'm not going to criticise him. I think he is a great player, but we all know him for his ball hogging and he doesn't track back and whatnot, whatever that. But that aside, technically, he did lose the ball in the build up to the goal.
He did.
So that would be my only criticism of him, but I ain't going to blame him for it. I mean, some could say Dubravka may have actually got to that if he positioned himself a little better. We'll
come to that in a sec. Gemma, ASM?
I do not make comments on ASM for legal reasons.
Do you think he was fouled? Let's put it another way. Do you think the referee should have blown up for a free kick when, I can't remember who it was either Keane or the other centre half went through him the whole gate to get to the ball? It was a definite foul. The ref just played on.
I don't think you can blame a player for losing possession if they've been fouled, personally.
Well, I tend to agree with that. I wouldn't apportion any blame to ASM. I think he was fouled. I think the referee fucked up there, to put it bluntly.
The ASM thing was a joke for anyone who didn't understand, because if you criticise ASM, you do seem to get a lot of flack.
Yeah,
we know where you're going. United fans.
We know you're going from there. We know you're going from there. So then Joe Linton, as John says, he misplaced the pass also in the move. Tiredness, John? Because apart from that, he was exemplary, wasn't he?
He was. I think the whole midfield was good. I think Willett wasn't as good in the second half as he was in the first, but I still think that the midfield did well. All three of them did well. I think we dominated midfield against them three. But yeah, I think it was fatigue. I mean, we played 15 minutes over the allocated time, which I think must be a record in the Premier League. So, yeah, I mean, we're struggling at the minute to play 90 minutes, especially with the games we've had. But so to play 105 was a lot to ask, and I think that showed in the last 5 minutes. Again, Everton had fresh legs, didn't they? So that was.
When you think of like Howard Webb and Fergie time, even they didn't get 15 minutes. Like I've never known that long.
I mean, the bloke was tied to the post for quite a while, wasn't it?
It was
I'm not
probably
sure
right. Probably right. 15 minutes.
Just kept in there. To be fair, like.
Right, so this is the big one for me. I mean, Dan Burn has been fantastic for us. There's no doubt about that. He's been absolutely spectacularly fucking good. But he was at fault for the Chelsea goal, and I'm going to put a large portion of the blame on him for last night's goal. I think he committed himself. I think he came out of the back four and rushed at the ball when he didn't have to. And if he hadn't done, I don't think they score. John, do you agree with that?
Yeah, unfortunately I do. But as I say, I still think for me he was the man of the match that match. And I think even the Chelsea one, he was close to man of the match, even though he made the mistake. So it's fatigue. It's simply been fatigue. He's played every single game. Him and Shah have played every single game. 4 games in 10 days, is it? Something like that. I think the break's needed. I think we could have done with the break before this game, but it's happened. It's not the end of the world.
Jace, did you think Dan Burn was obviously mentally fatigued when he ran out to try and get the ball when he should have done it? If he'd have stayed where he was, there's no way ever to get through us.
Yeah, it's again, yeah. Everyone is so tired. The team needed a huge hugely rotating. And you even saw in his face, you saw his expression, you saw the way he reacted when he knew what happened, and for himself that he was furious the way it happened. But these things happen. You can't always expect to be perfect all the time. Eventually you're going to get caught out, and unfortunately, he got caught out.
I mean, I'm not critical of him because I think he's a fantastic player. I actually think he should have been in the England squad, but last 2 games he has kind of cost us 4 points, really, hasn't it? 2 points definitely, with errors. Jem, did you think he was at fault for rushing out last night?
Yeah, but I'm going to flip the coin. In Burns' defence, excuse the pun, I think he's saved us more than he's cost us.
Well, I agree with that.
Definitely,
too.
100%. Yeah.
I agree with that too.
For every negative, you have to look at positives. It's unfair to leave it like unbalanced. You've got to see the potential and the positives. And obviously, you do have to take into consideration the negatives because they need to be worked on. But yeah, I do think he's been a great addition to the squad. I think he's a great signing. Probably my second or third favourite after Trippier.
Yeah, I agree. You have to take the positives, and he has saved us on countless occasions. To kind of criticise him for that is kind of churlish. Once he did do that, though, I think Shah should have moved over a little bit, and I think Manquillo should have moved across to try and cover the gaps. That didn't happen. Once he got through, then you left with the goalkeeper, and I thought Dubravka was terrible for his positioning. And he actually not stretched his arm out either. He didn't even stretch his arm to try and parry it, did he? John?
No. Dubravka was, I think he only made 2 saves all game up until that point, hadn't he? He had a very quiet game. So when he was called on, possibly his positioning was wrong, but I don't know. The whole thing was weird, wasn't it? The whole thing was strange how it kind of built up. I think, so many players doing wrong things at the wrong time. I think no one was expecting it, though, was they? Absolutely not. I think even the commentator said something stupid like, "Imagine if they nicked it at the last minute," and then they did, didn't they? That's what they say. I'm sure they do, trying to tempt fate, the bastards. But we were all over them at that point. We just couldn't score. Yeah, just as I say, it's just fatigue for me personally. It was just fatigue. So 1-0, no time really to bring anything back. Thoroughly disappointing night, but let's have your Newcastle man of the match. We'll start with Gemma in the bottom right.
One thing I was just about to add about Dan Burn was
okay.
When it comes to like gun for headers, like he's obviously with his height, he's got that advantage. But he's always in amongst it. Like, he clashed his head, and I think he always puts the effort in. So I do like rate Dan Burn, but man of the match, possibly. It's a tough one.
It is, because no one really had a stinker, really, did they?
Yeah, and I do think Joe Linton and certain midfield players have performed really well together consistently. Like Ryan Fraser runs his little legs off. Bless him. Oh, I like Ryan Fraser. Bless him.
So you reckon Fraser with our man of the match then?
Fraser, Joe Linton, possibly, but it's a bit hard because they were all a bit bang average last night.
Jace?
Oh, it's a difficult one, really. It'll be between Bruno and Burn, maybe.
That's a good shout about Bruno. Sorry.
Yeah, that's difficult. I think Bruno and Burn would have to share that.
And John, you were Burn.
I think if Bruno had kept it up in the second half like he was in the first half, I mean, he gave us a good solid 70 minutes of class, but he was missing probably when we needed him a bit more towards the end. If we'd have got that, I'd have given him man of match. The reason for Dan Burn is for 87 minutes, whatever it was, he kept everything out of that box, everything in the air, he cleared everything. I thought Emil Kraft had a good game as well, in all honesty. But yeah, Dan Burn for me.
Emil Kraft's been pretty good of late, I've got to say. I was actually calling for him to be recalled, if you remember, ahead of Manquillo, and he was. Right, so we'll go through comments. Cesare says, off topic, but I'm hearing Shearer's Bar is back. Can anyone confirm it's been renamed? It has. And I think the signs are already up, aren't they? Gemma,
you're there. Reopened tonight at 5 p.m. Back at Shearer's Bar. Reopened like after it being closed for the name change.
Yeah, it was
there you go.
Night tonight. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Confirmed. Josh says, I think we became complacent, especially after they went on 10 men. Apart from the goal, they came dangerously close with a low cross goal. Yeah, that's right, from Gordon, wasn't it? And they seemed desperate for the win more than us. They did seem hungry after they went to 10 men. That's quite right. UK Jack answers the Shearer's Bar thing. Yes, it has. As soon as it was over the barrier, Stewart should have been all over it. They should have been. It was ridiculously remiss of them to let him do that.
Someone tried to do the same at Arsenal Liverpool, didn't they, the game before? And
yeah.
Stopped him dead. So how he got away with it this time?
I mean, what was Begovic doing? Begovic stands in goal. What was he doing?
That's what I was thinking. I thought, if Begovic seeing this guy running towards his goal, why not just spear him?
I think it was just wasn't it just after he took a goal kick though? If I don't
maybe it was behind him. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, at one point, I actually thought that he'd come from the crowd so he could put himself in a place where it was safe to stand with Chris Wood fucking striking. Troll says it has, Cesare. Cesare saying thank you.
I'll just ask,
Jim says,
how do you use a cable tie, right? By yourself and like
around your neck and around something behind you, yeah.
Around a goal post and fasten him all
That's
by
an excellent
yourself.
point. That's an excellent point, I've got to say.
How do you have so much time to do that? And not only that, he must be a lot more flexible than Chris Wood.
Well, there's no way I could do it, but that way.
I think he must have had it around his neck, pretty much up until that point, all the way through the game, waiting for an opportunity.
Say, for example,
he's still got to get it through the little hole and pull it, hasn't he?
And then try it around the goalpost and fasten it. I don't know, and all that time. Why didn't the stewards run after him when he was approaching the pitch or when he'd just come onto the pitch?
I mean, I heard tonight, and this was on the Three Amigos on NUFC Matters, that a steward was handed a knife by one of the fans in the crowd to cut it off. It didn't work, and he gave him the knife back.
He did, yeah. But it was a penknife, though, wasn't it? And by law, you're allowed to carry penknives, aren't you? But
it's still a weapon in the ground.
It is.
Well, they are based
Jim says,
right next to Stanley Park, so...
Yeah, Stanley, being the operative word, I guess.
I reckon loads
Jim
of
says,
stewards have got to be having their SIAs taken away from them.
well, you never know. Jim says, check the cameras, see who the cable guy was with. Ban them all for life. I tend to agree with that. Julie says, how the hell he had time to get the cable tie on is just what the F. What the fuck? I know I'm fucking not swearing for because I always swear. Gary says it was Hugh Fernie Whittingstall that tied himself to the goalpost. He did look like him.
It's very similar.
Ches says that Julie indeed. Jim says it was a bike lock. It's just a metal zip tie with a 2-prong key on or off in seconds. Well, obviously it wasn't off in seconds, was it? Obviously it wasn't off in seconds. It took them 12 minutes to get rid of the prick. To be honest, look, Ban says trolls. I mean, they should have seen what he attached to the post with. Yeah, I agree with that. Made by a company called Hiplock, says Jim. Jack says you'd think of Everton there would be someone in the crowd that could have had that lock off in seconds. Very stereotypical. Matty says, sorry. Richarlison needs punching in the teeth. He was an embarrassment all night. He was, wasn't he? He was in the grass more than Alan fucking Titchmarsh, wasn't he?
And then when he
don't want to see him at Newcastle.
And then when he gets subbed off, he's just, let me just limp off the field now.
Let's talk about Anthony Gordon. Should he have been double yellow last night? How many fouls did he make in that game?
There was a few
That's
fouls.
What I'm saying. I genuinely don't know how he was still on the pitch, Gordon.
Tell
of
you
all the players to be sent off, I thought it would have been Gordon.
You got stats there for that?
I have.
How many fouls did he make in the game?
Is it in 3 figures?
It wasn't just the fouls; it was the petulance of him. You know, and he pushed. He got involved in stuff that never involved him. He was on at the ref all game. He made countless fouls. John's going to tell us now, hasn't he?
According to the stats, it was only 3. but
3 was more than that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was more than that, wasn't it?
3 you got pulled up on, probably.
Wow.
Oh, I think he should have been off. Anyway. Spence says, can't blame the protester for the loss and settling or not. He gave both teams a break at this, all the same. No, but what it did, it kind of got the Everton crowd into it. That's the kind of point we were making. Is there any merit to calling for a replay because of the protester, or should it have been up to the ref to call it off? I don't think there's any merit. No merit in that at all. God, I mean, our reputation is bad enough as it is without whinging about something like that. We should have dealt with it better than what we did.
They could have called the game off. The ref could have made the decision on the night. But to be fair, it never looked like it was going to last more than 10, 15 minutes, did it? So,
no.
So I don't think it'd have happened.
Yeah, Jim says, so we should drop Wood when Wilson is fit. Imagine the Bruno midfield link-up play. That sounds mouth-wateringly good. Do we agree? That's going to be something special when that happens.
Yes. When you feed Wilson, you know Wilson can and will know how to score. He can put the ball in the back of the net from with his head, with his feet, with anything. It just you can just imagine a Bruno through ball to Wilson. He's going to burst into the box and just it's going to be. I can't wait for it to happen.
Are you on the same hint sheet, Jem?
Definitely, 100%, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, some of the balls Bruno sprayed yesterday was quality, weren't they? Absolute quality, and Wilson must be looking at them thinking, I wish I was on the field. But yeah, I think it'll be good, especially if you play Bruno and Shelvey. I mean,
yeah, you got 2 out, 2 con. Yeah. Spencer says Willock as a false 9 is a good idea. He plays like one anyway. Drifting around and making those late runs is his speciality. I agree with that. I mentioned that the other week as well. And Matty says it can be a 6-point deduction for fans entering the pitch. They're not going to deduct Everton. I mean, apparently the financial fair play people were involved with them, and they went to the Premier League and said, we'll sort it out, and that was the end of it. Anyone else, it would, But apparently they've got like Russian owners there, haven't they? They've got Russian investment there, and there's rumours of a points deduction. I don't know if this is right or wrong. Has anyone heard anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, they got rid of the Russian owner now. He's been removed from the club and from the books and from anything associated with the club. He was an investor. He wasn't down as a director, so it's not as bad as Chelsea. But there is talk, and if there is a deduction, it'll be next season. So good luck in the Championship.
Cesare says, my only issue playing two up top is which winger do we sacrifice? Our counters might be slow in comparison. On the upside, our finishing will be better and our midfield will be more compact with four in the middle. Yeah, if we drop a winger, he might have to drop one of the central midfielders, mightn't he? Go and play with two wingers.
He could go 4-3-3, couldn't he? With Wilson up top and Wood and ASM behind him and the midfield three.
Paul says ASM came on for Miggy guys. Yeah, he did. Yeah, Murphy come on for Fraser. That's right, he did. Did we say they were around? Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right. Jeff says should have taken Fraser off for ASM. And Matty says ASM should have come on for Fraser. Miggy should have stayed on, but hindsight is a beautiful thing. It was a strange time because, as I say, Miggy must have got some confidence out of beating Godfrey.
It was a brilliant move. It was probably one of the best of the game. And then they took him off straight after. I mean, even his ball into the box was good. The cutback was good.
Good cutback, yeah, it was, yeah.
That was your opinion last night, Billy, what Cesare just said. Sorry.
It looked yellow at first, but it was a definite red. Had Max's foot been planted, it could have been leg break. Yeah, because he did catch him in midair. So, to me, it was a red all along. Matty says a VAR went our way for once. Jeff says would have been good if it was just and got a red. We've had reds for less than that, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest about that. Jeff says Everton have lost their appeal. They have. Here's Tony Batesbridge, or Tony the Red, as John Sinclair calls him for some odd reason. It's Tony time. Alan's decent was worth a red alone.
I think he means his descent towards the ref.
Yes, descent, yeah. He was a prick afterwards, so I think he's getting an extra game for that, I'll be honest. Ian says Bruno man of the match by a country mile. I tend to agree with that, actually. I thought for 70 minutes he was outstanding, but like John said, he did run out of steam, and that's kind of an issue with him at the minute, isn't it? He doesn't get 90 minutes, does he? Which is concerning.
Well, he had 105, didn't he, yesterday? But I think this break, I think it's going to do them all a world of good, to be fair. Did Bruno go on the last one? I don't think he did he? Because he was on international duty. So I think...
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he might be on it again.
Yeah, he was with Brazil.
So
he might be on it again.
I think he might be, yeah. But Big Joe should be ahead of him in the Brazil squad. But I think I think he'll do everyone some good fitness training in the heat.
Ches says it was the right move to push as far forward as we did. Had we not pushed so hard against 10 men, we would have questioned the desire to win. We just got caught out. It happens. Sonia says, my opinion, the game was off its head. Have you seen Leeds' equaliser, for fuck's sake, Wolves keeper? Are they 2-2 now, are they?
Apparently Leeds winning 3-2.
Yeah,
Leeds winning 3-2?
Leeds were up, yeah.
2-0 when I turned it off. Jesus Christ. Leeds 3-2, yeah. Richarlison was annoying yesterday. ASM was not at fault for the goal in any way, in my opinion. No, I agree. I agree with that. I thought he was fouled. I think the referee was bad, actually. Chaz says, agreed, Tools. It happens when we press that high. It was a crazy game. Ian says, Christ, Leeds were 2 down now, winning 3-2. Funny side, Leeds, ain't they? I think for that goal, Dan Burn moving up, left Shah open and sort of left the hole on our defensive line, not to be taking anything away from it, because the movement was great from Everton for that goal. Yeah, it was. But if Dan Burn hadn't moved, they wouldn't have scored. Simple as that. If it had just held his position, they wouldn't have scored. Definitely not ASM at all. It's one of them things that lads were hanging out, and it was good play by Everton. Dubs fluffed his angles. If you watch it again, he pulled his hands away as if it's going wide. Yeah, he did. We were undone by 10 seconds of good football. That's why they kind of produced the whole game also. John needs to have a chat with his mate at Man U site to let us sign Henderson in the summer. Maguire and Shaw over Burn and Target for the England call-up is shocking. Well, Shaw's not getting a game for Man United and Maguire's awful, so I tend to agree with that. There's other centre-halves that, as well. I mean, Gahey's in, isn't he, from Palace? He's been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
Terraces S, welcome to the channel, mate. Our main problem was Eddie Howe. He doesn't seem to read the situation very well. He should have brought someone on to shore up the defence, but he couldn't read the match. I disagree with that. I think against 10 men, you can't bring on an extra defender. Surely to God, you've got to kind of go for it, haven't you?
I wholeheartedly agree. I think his subs were good. To be fair, I think there's not much.
If the timing was wrong on one or two of them, but yeah, I think the subs were good, but just the timing of it was odd, in my opinion. Matty says it's not Eddie's fault. It was just good play. Eddie's been class since coming in. He has. Spencer says Bruno man of the match for us. I agree. Troll says Big Dan Burn. Terrace says Bruno. Why shore up the defence when they had a player off and one up front? That's what I just said. Bruno was class, so I changed my mind and I agree with Spencer. He seemed to read the game quite well over his nine game and managed the municipality did indeed. Leeds won. That's a shit result for us. Matty Davis, because they're visibly tired. Chris says they agree on Dan Burn being class for us. But if it comes out to press that foul, then you have to foul or win the ball. Because if you get turned, which he was, you're left exposed. That's exactly what happened, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shoring up the defence makes sense for a goal up on 65 minutes, but not doing much when we're pushing for a win against 10 men. Now, that's kind of what we said. Bruno man the match. Those 9 matches played with the cracks. His subs are always late. Leeds won, put distance from Everton. They've got games in hand now, but Everton's got a terrible running, haven't they? Mankier was way better than Kraft. Never want to see him in our squad again. I don't agree with that. I think Kraft's actually
had a pretty decent game.
I prefer Mankier to Kraft, but Kraft's had 2 or 3 decent games.
I don't think there's much between them, John.
I think Kraft was really good against Everton, to be fair. His crossing, he gives us that crossing, and I think defensively he was sound. I think Mankier against Chelsea was quite poor, to be fair. But they're just one games, aren't they? Mankier's been pretty, you'd say, better than Kraft normally. But Kraft played well against Southampton, played well against Everton last night. So Howe gives players that play well the chance, doesn't he? He's always done that. So I'd expect Kraft to be starting the next one as well, to be fair.
I would have said Mankier all day long, but the past kind of 5 or 6 weeks, I think Kraft's looked a hell of a lot better than what he usually does. Man United, for instance, he was absolutely superb. And I think Kraft actually at the moment would be my first choice, unless Trippier is obviously the man that's supposed to win. But out of the two that's out there, those two that are available, I'd pick Kraft ahead of Mankier at the moment. I've got to say.
Yeah, Mankier would be my first choice, but I think we all know if that volley that Kraft did went in, I think it'd be the one for the man of the match right there.
I'd have Kraft's first choice, I'll be honest. At the minute, I would. Terrace says, I think Everton is going down. Chris says, if Burns comes out to meet his man and he has to win a ball off out, that's what I said. As soon as he got turned with left exposed, I fully agree, though. He's been classed for us. He has been outstanding. Just 2 little errors. Matty says, Bruno, 63 out of 65 passes completed. 100% of long balls. John, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. His passing was, it was something else. His stats were something else. It's 97% passing accuracy across the whole game. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And he don't just pass the ball 2 yards sideways, does he? I mean, he just
no. I mean, he plays some quality long balls as well, didn't he? He had some key passes in there as well. 66 passes, I think it was in the game.
Question from James. Next 6 games, how many points do we get? So who we got next 6 games? We've got Spurs, Wolves, Palace. Who we got after that? Norwich. Leicester, is it? Norwich away, then Leicester. I think we're going to get 9 points. I think 9. Anyone else?
I think
Spurs, Wolves, Leicester, Palace, Norwich, Liverpool.
Leeds. Is it Liverpool, is it?
Yeah,
Liverpool at home, yeah.
I don't think we'll get anything from Liverpool, but I'd say 7 points.
I think we'll beat Palace. I think we'll beat
Palace,
Norwich.
Yeah, and then it's a point versus Wolves or Spurs. We normally get a point against Wolves, don't we? So possibly a win, but I'd say 7 points, and that would be enough for us, wouldn't it? To be fair,
you'd think. 9 matches unbeaten, doesn't play over the cracks as a pattern of success. I agree. There were actually 2 protests. I think one was like a decoy, sacrificial lamb to allow the other idiots to do his stuff.
Yeah, there was another one that came on.
Yeah, take seconds. Richarlison, HL time says Malcolm. Chesray, I hope we continue to win. Bruno belongs to our dream team of next season. I agree with that. AB says, do you agree that stats really doesn't always determine whether a player had a poor game or good game? That's a good question to end on. John?
I like stats, so I used to do it for a living, but yeah, I think stats can't always be taken for what they are. 100% agree with that. They're good as an indication, but it doesn't tell the whole story. You look at Joe Linton's stats the last 8-9 games, and you wouldn't think he was a good, outstanding player, but he has been outstanding the last 7 or 8 games he's played for us, and you can tell that from his positioning, the way he's bullying players, that what he brings to the team more than just the stats. So yeah, I don't think.
Jace, you a stat man? Do you like stats?
I like stats, but I don't really follow the stats. I mean, stats can change it in any ways, and stats can prove that the stats show what the players like before or what the players like for their previous club. Take Wood for an example. Stats are saying it's the perfect example. You say the stats say Wood gets 10 plus goals a season. Wood has a stat of getting 1 in every 3 games. If that stat is still correct, he should have had at least 3 or 4 for us by now. He's only got the 1. So stats don't always mean everything. Stats can be different. A player can have the most amazing stats in the world at their other club. They could join another club and it could be absolutely dog shit.
Gemma, you a stats girl?
Previous stats are informative and they're insightful. But I agreed with you. But they don't always reveal the whole picture. So 50-50.
Troll says, get Kraft out. He gives dangerous free kicks. And away, he did yesterday too. Don't rate him at all. I think that's a Norwegian-Swedish kind of rivalry going on there. And Cesare says, stats tell a good story if you know how deep to go with it. The problem is knowing when not to conflate correlation with causation. Stats are responsible for Liverpool's success. That's a very interesting point. And a valid one, I think, also. And here's another valid one. Wood is a statistical anomaly. I've never heard him called that before. Jack says, great show and great chat tonight. Thank you all. You're welcome. Thanks to everyone who has joined us. Thanks to my guests, John, Jace, and the beautiful Gemma. So 1-0 defeat at Everton. Disappointing result. But we'll dust ourselves down and we'll also push ourselves and get on with it. Subscribe, please, if you haven't already done so. Notification. Bell to remind you when we're on again. We've got the 99p, 199p, 199p, £1.99 and £2.99 membership deals, which will entitle you to our members' prize draws. And we get all of our stuff by sponsoring Sports Trader, a charity, a nationwide charity, who are about to break into Newcastle with a store in Newcastle City Centre. They provide sporting equipment and kit. Disadvantaged children, disadvantaged families, and we're supporting them do that. It's a great charity. One final comment, I believe. Let's see. Cesare, you swallowed a thesaurus. Great show, says Trulls. Take care and all have a good night. Jude said, no, Alex is sleeping over and he's playing with my phone. Right, so that's it, guys. John, thanks for coming on. As always, fantastic. Jace, thanks for coming on, mate. Where can we find you? Have you got any shows of the weekend?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Keeping It Toon YT. So right there. You can also find me in a Facebook. Just type in Keeping It Toon, or you'll find me in the Facebook group there. You can join that. Also, if you go to my channel, to my last video, you'll see a link to join the group and also a link to join my Discord. And coming up on the channel, I'll be doing my live show tomorrow night at 8 to go over the game and just usual banter as always with guests when see who wants to come on.
John, where do we find you? On Twitter? You got any of the socials? John?
Oh, me? I thought you said
Twitter handle.
I can't remember it, to be fair. You'll have to ask me next time.
You're on Twitter. Gemma, yeah. Where do we find you? Give us a shout out for your new channel coming
on. You usually find Paul Records, but everyone else can find me on Twitter at Gemma L. Summers. Obviously, spelled with a G, SOMERS, blah, blah. And I'm on channels called Gem Reflex.
And that's starting on April the 9th, as you said earlier, Saturday, April the 9th, for your introduction show, which will be kind of telling us what the channel's going to be all about. Is that right?
That's correct.
There we have it then. So all that remains for me to do is, with an abrupt end, say thanks to everyone that's came on, everyone in the chat. It's been fantastic. Mods 2, thanks for all your hard work. We'll be back again at some stage over the weekend. I think we've got the Horseman Monday, Premier League show Tuesday, and a new show next Wednesday with myself and Gemma, the Twosome, which is a irreverent look at the football world over the past week or so. So until then, wish you all a very, 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 very good evening.